Are we on?
Yes.
Good morning or afternoon, or possibly even night in some cases.
It could be middle of the night for some people.
Look, we've got two things we wanted to talk about today. The first one is an online conference we're doing on Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
In normal parts of the world, it's Saturday, and in the southern parts of the world, in Australia, it's Sunday. And what we'll be doing is we're going to be talking about 3 books. It's a sort of a book launch. And for those people who think, oh, that's going to be boring. Well, no, not so much, because the content is all indirectly based around aliens, isn't it, Evan?
Mm.
Paul Anthony Wallace will be doing the next in his East of Eden theory, where he believes that the Elohim is actually plural and the gods came from the skies, which is interesting because Frederick Slater, which is one of the 2 books we'll be launching, which is this one here, he actually believes that the first language and culture itself began when beings came from the skies, landed. I think one of the beings, which was, I think, No Name, wasn't it, Evan? Actually,
the
didn't
nameless
like
one, yeah.
The nameless one didn't like the place and got back into a tree that mingled with the clouds, and when it took off, there was smoke and fire behind it, and it went up to the Southern Cross constellation. Same story. And the other book we're launching is called Interview with an Alien, which is a personal conversation with an alien. So Paul's going to be looking through the religious text to find the truth of the fact that we did have angels and gods, and we also had aliens, and how much they spin over is debatable, but I think there's a fairly large crossover between the two. So we're going to do a presentation on that, and I want to make the point for our critics, and we do have a lot, don't we, Evan? There's quite a few of them. This will be free, and it'll be free for 24 hours, isn't it, Evan?
Yep.
Okay, and then, of course, somebody complained, I know this last time, didn't they, Evan, that after the 24 hours they went back and it wasn't free, and then got really upset about the fact that we had to hide to charge money for something that we pay money to put on ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, after we put it on for the day for free and had it up for the day afterwards for free. So effectively you had probably more than 2 days to watch it for free.
Yeah.
Then complain afterwards it costs money.
Because after that it does, because Evan and Leo are also part of our group, need money, don't you?
We do, and we actually have bills. It actually costs us money to put these conferences on.
Oh, yes.
We have a marketing team to pay. We have platforms that you're now viewing this through. That costs.
And we've also spent close to $1,000 a month to get around our shadow banning, don't we, Evan?
Yep, and just to even have the website up for you to have a look at everything costs money. Yeah.
And we're doing it for free just so that we can make sure that people watch this. But after a period of time, if you haven't watched it in 2 days, well, if you do want to watch it, then you can watch all 29 of the conferences for the amount of around $15, which I know now in America is less than $10. Anyway, let's leave that aside. We'll both be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the book that's just been released, which is Slater, and the other book, which we've had a lot of trouble getting listed. And what's also interesting with this one is the way that it's not for sale in so many places. We'll talk about that on the day, won't we, Evan? The fact that it should be, but isn't. And with the problems we have with this book before, the fact that we're having massive problems again with this one is not a coincidence. And we'll talk about that on the day. We've got proof that it is not a coincidence. So we're going to be talking about those 2 books, Frederick Slater's book. And Frederick Slater believes that he discovered the first language that was spoken by humans throughout the whole of this planet before any other language. He believed it was the most mystical. In fact, he called it spirit language, most mystical language that ever existed. And he also believed that when we spoke this language, civilization was at its peak, and it isn't anymore. So what he's basically saying is that this language we spoke came from a time when we're more evolved, more spiritual, more aware, and more in contact with our reasons for being here. Now, to me, that's really important. And we'll be talking about that, this particular book in some detail. Now, there will be 4 of these books. And if I hold it up, you'll see the first one has got the Book of Discoveries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we've done is we've broken the book up into 4 sections because the book itself is about 750 pages. But it's claiming that basically the whole history of this planet is wrong. Now, we have to spend a fair bit of time in this book validating the fact that critiques have been made of Slater by present-day critics about the fact that he's crazy, he's unreliable, he's dishonest, all these sorts of words, and his work is rubbish. And I'll make the point now, every one of those critiques is not based upon one word he actually wrote. They don't have anything. I find it interesting you can critique a scientist for what he does, but you don't know what he wrote, and you haven't got a word to refer to. So what we needed to do, oh, there it is up. It's up in Barnes & Noble.
I just wanted to read out this, but it's in Barnes & Noble. So if you're overseas, you can get it from Barnes & Noble. I just want to read a lovely review someone's left. This is a mind twister. The mainstream lame media tells you this man is a villain, yet he's surrounded by the highest level of people. The truth shared in this book is going to have some, perhaps a lot of people crying and questioning their source of information. Thank you, Stephen and Evan.
Oh, right. That's someone else's thing. Okay, fine. Well, this is about basically a language that if we spoke it would elevate us. And our argument is, and we'll talk into the reasons why, this first book is clearing up all the lies about Slater. And also the first part of his book was not about the language. It was called the Book of Discovery. So we broke it up into sections. The second section, which has all the sacred words, and we'll explain on the day why we're going to give them all up, is in the second and third book. Now, the second book I've completed, and we've got a write-up Slater section, and it'll be out in a couple of months. But you need to read the first book to prepare yourself for this so that you know that when you're getting to the next part, the person who's making a statement about the whole of the world history being incorrect, you know. And that gentleman wrote that in that article. He hung around with the most important people in New South Wales. And I'll close with one comment we're going to focus on the day. For those people, and there's a lot of them who claim he's an idiot, a fool, I want to make a point. And we've got the proof, John White sent it to us, between 1929 and 1939, there were 13 lots of land in New South Wales that were given back to the public. Like they belonged to the government, but they were taken off from freehold and kept because they were special. Some were parks, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them, one in 1929 and one in 1939, was set aside for Aboriginal reasons because of the art there. What is interesting is both of those 2 sites were the sites that Slater wrote about massively. He wrote about Burragurra and he spoke about it in the 1939 science conference, didn't he, Evan? In a science conference of Australia and New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
and was received enthusiastically. Now, what's interesting is the only 2 over a 10-year period pieces of land that were given back to Aboriginal sensibilities and culture, there was a list of trustees. And the first trustee in both of them was a Professor Shells here, which is an interesting name, isn't it? Shells don't normally hear things, but maybe they do. And the second name was Frederick Slater. And the other names were names of people who were academics, lawyers, solicitors, architects, all of the top level people in this country. And they all work together. But he's an idiot, isn't he?
Yes.
And all the others are really important people. And in fact, one of his mates, one of his best friends, was Cardinal Moran, wasn't it, Evan?
Yep.
Now, Cardinal Moran was an Archbishop of Sydney and the most credentialed religious Catholic person in Australia and was given the top posting. In fact, when he died, 250,000 people in Sydney attended his funeral. The population of Sydney was 400,000. And he was Catholic. And the majority of people in Australia are not Catholic. And guess who Cardinal Moran worked with all the way through? And we can prove this and we'll show you. And was one of his closest friends, Frederick Slater. So we need to include all that information to prove to people this guy is legitimate. Because you've got to remember, the critiques are about the fact he's a bad man. Not that he wrote anything wrong. Now, I want to make one final point about this. I want you to think about this. How many scientists have made major discoveries that are not fully socially, how can I put this, balanced, that have strange issues about them that some people might find offensive? If we ignore all the scientists who are not socially cultured and get all this sort of stuff right, we'd be listening to about 5% of the science that's been discovered on this planet. You can't decide about whether a person does good science because somebody didn't like him. And that's what they've used, haven't they? They've actually gone to people in the family, and one person in the family said, oh, no, he's rubbish. And that is enough for them. I want you to make a point. If you go to different families and get comments about people within the family, they'll vary between he's a god to a devil. And what does that mean? That tells you about the person who's talking, not about the person they're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about Slater's book. We're going to be talking about this book here. Okay, that's the first part of what we're talking about, and that's free, isn't it? It's free.
Yeah.
If you want to become a subscriber, that would help us greatly because we have to pay other people so much money each month.
Yeah, I strongly encourage that.
I think last month we didn't get any money, did we? No, it all went to expenses. Anyway, that's the first part of the equation. The second part is this, and Evan's going to add something and put this on at the finish when I'm finished talking. And what it is that we've had people that have come up here and done one ceremony with the rocks. We've had over 300 people. And I think you can count 3 people who didn't get a reaction. One we know quite well, and the other 2 we know should never have come. And I won't go into the reasons why. They were never welcomed there, and the rocks didn't react to them. But I can tell you that all the other people who've been there had major reactions to the rocks. And we had sort of evaluation sheets that people filled out. And I can tell you we got a 99% positive score. So what are we doing? Why am I bringing it up? Because now that things are getting closer to the change, now they're getting much closer to the change. What's this on? Oh, it's on July 1st and 2nd. That can't be right, is it? Oh, it must be. Okay. All right. I just found out when it's on. It's on July the 1st and 2nd, which is a month and a half away. And what we're doing is we're doing this much differently. It is not, before we said it was a workshop. It's not this time. It's ceremonial with a workshop as part of it. It's completely different. And what's going to take place is you're going to do 4 different ceremonies. The one I'm going to talk about is the one that everyone knows, where they sit inside the rocks. They were doing it for 10 minutes, but they're going to do it for 20 this time. The other 3 ceremonies they're going to do, I won't be speaking about, because they will not be. They'll be also, those people, when they do go through that ceremony, will keep that secret too. I'm not going to talk about what they are, except they're incredibly powerful. And what we're going to do when we're finished is, before we did this, we made sure this worked, because we asked 2 people to come along, and we gave them all 4 of these ceremonies, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And at the end, Evan's going to talk, is going to play a story, because they're going to tell us. I haven't heard what they said. Okay, I don't know what they said. What they're going to do is they're going to talk about their reactions to that. Now, what we're doing is we're asking people to come on the Saturday and Sunday on July the 1st and 2nd up to the farm. And we take 7 people only. That's all we can fit in, because we'll be having people doing different ceremonies, and they'll be coming in to the central point. And those who've been there before know it's a studio. And what we'll be doing there is we're going to be discussing some of the things this fellow said. We're going to be looking at some more archaeology with the rocks. Those things can be done all the way through and they don't interrupt. But we won't be giving information and stories and facts because there's going to be so many different people doing ceremonies at different times. Some will be inside the room, some will be out at different parts of this. Now, as a result, this all changes. We have 7 people in the morning, 7 people in the afternoon. And during that time, when they finish all those things, then basically we don't want them to talk about it. We want them to spend some time thinking about this before they react. And each night, what happens is we go from 9:30 to 1 and from 1:30 to 5. And then at 6 o'clock, we invite everyone back. That'll be 7 and 7, which is 14 of that day. We will put on a meal. You've got a choice of vegan or vegetarian. I'm sorry, because we're vegetarian and vegan here. We don't eat meat and we don't cook it. So
I wouldn't know how to cook it if my life depended upon it.
So it's going to be, and you get the choice which one it is, and we'll feed you then. And then after that, we're going to spend the 3 hours after that night discussing what happened as a group, which is how it would have happened at night time when always before the white fellas came here. They would do their ceremonies at night time around the fire. They would then discuss what took place and work out what it all meant. Now, normally, when we ask people to do this before, because Leah's got to fly up, we've got to set the whole thing up, and it costs us money. We did charge $190, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And we did, no, they came for 3 and a bit hours, but this time you're not coming for 3 and a bit, you're coming for 7 or 8 hours, and we're feeding you, and we're also putting on a free meal for each person, a sort of a mid-meal, aren't we, for each group?
Yeah, and just shameless ad here, if you're a member, you get 11% off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to add that. Sorry. Now, what it is because you're there for 7 hours, we've doubled the price to $390, but thank you, Evan.
If you're a subscriber.
If you're a subscriber, it's not $390, it's $350. Okay, that's the thing that this is part of the stuff. And we'll be doing this, basically, we're going to be doing this for the rest of this year. Okay, because I believe this is the final ceremony that will prepare you for this. Oh, look, someone's got Go Vegans. So that particular thing, yeah, we are charging for that one because we don't have any choice. And whether it depends whether we do the nighttime talk around the fire pit we have a massive fire pit. But if it's really cold, we'll stay inside the studio where we can fit 14 people in easily.
Yeah.
There's a heater in there. So you will be well looked after. I know it's winter, but remember it's winter up in the far north coast of New South Wales, which means we get down to about 16 or 17 degrees. It's not winter in Victoria or Hobart. So it's not that bad. And as I said, you'll either be sitting around the fire pit being warm, but if it's too cold out there, we have a heater and you'll be inside the studio. And there we'll be talking about what happened during that day, what happened in those 4 ceremonies. So, ladies and gentlemen, now, what Evan's going to do, we're going to finish now, aren't we, Evan?
Yeah. I'll just queue up the 2 videos.
Right.
So you'll get to hear about what 2 people went through this. What happened.
And because we wanted to make sure, because when we decided these were the 4 ceremonies we were going to do, we knew that one worked. We didn't know about the other 3, did we?
No.
We had no idea. So we didn't want to say to people, look, we'd like you to pay some money to come up for something when we weren't even sure itself. Because it's a step further than before. And it's a big step forward. There's a few things we're doing that we never thought we'd do before. Okay. Evan's going to put it up, are you?
Yeah, just get this first one up. Wait a sec. That's going to be annoying.
Why?
Well, I'll get this one up first, and the other one I'm going to have to work on.
Okay, we'll put one up anyway.
Hello. So, yeah, I've got my second beta tester, aka guinea pig, here today, who's been through some of the ceremonies that we're going to be doing our next set of workshops, which we're redoing this year. So, yeah, just to give you all a little bit of a tester and a taste of what's to come. So, over to you, Mick.
Well, I found the day pretty eventful for me. Some pretty good energetic moments and a couple of the ceremonies definitely made me feel a bit brighter and more enlightened on, where energy in the world's going and those sort of things there. So definitely worth the experience. If at least of any of the least of the experiences you get would be a little bit more enlightened, or you're better off than you were before it anyway.
Exactly.
But I've got a lot more out of it than what I was expecting, and definitely feel a lot more positive about things in life and how humanity may be going. That's definitely for sure.
We all need that.
Yeah, definitely. A bit more positivity goes a long way. But as far as the day, it was very eventful for me, energetically anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Evan, would you like to fill in what Mick said? What was he saying roughly?
Fuck. He just said that he was having an amazing experience. It's changed his life, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with my mic.
What about for the other guy, for Mackenzie?
I'll try that now. If
Yeah.
not, I'm so sorry, people.
Trust me, what did happen was it did actually work. We asked them to make a very quick comment. We'll see how this one goes, because I don't know why the mic played up there. Try this.
See, the wonders. The people complain that we're rolling in money, and I have a mic that doesn't work properly. Just next time you complain, just think on
Buy
that.
us a mic. Yeah, and we'll take the complaint.
All right, let me get
Okay.
this other one up.
We'll see if this one works. Oh, good.
Wait. We've just done a beta test. So I've got Mackenzie with me today, who's
That's
one
louder.
of my guinea pigs. Steve's guinea pigs. It's more correct, actually. And we'll just get her to tell you a little bit about what happened today and what experiences that she had. So, yeah, just giving you a little bit of a teaser and a taste of what's to come this year with our workshops.
Thank you, Evan. So I've been to a couple of the other workshops, and this one is just as good, if not better, in the type of experience that we got to have. Sitting in the circle was one of the similarities, but the experiences that you have in that, obviously they're each individual and personalized, but that was really informative for me. And then interestingly, the next couple of ceremonies seemed to follow on. There was a theme that I noticed, and a lot of it around the third eye and expression of that in healing. It felt really healing in different aspects, and when we were discussing it, everybody's, I guess, experienced it a little bit differently, but I really enjoyed that one. Some sort of physical feelings in different areas, like working on different areas of the body, and just really feeling an overall general positivity and lightness about it, which is really nice. It felt really, really lovely to have that experience. I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So we'll bring in our next beta tester, and we'll see you all very soon.
Right.
Hello. So we're going to
No, we're not.
relaunch some work.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right, we did
all
get
that
to hear some of Mackenzie, and Mick was saying the same thing, and they are right about one thing. These ceremonies are done in a theme. There's a gradation, and the last one's the most important one. But the problem is, we're asking you to pay money for basically a presentation where there's one thing you've done before, and that's the only part of this that's the same. But that'll be different too, because people have sat inside those rocks a second time and said that their reaction was completely different to the first time. That's a commonality. So whatever you had the first time, it'll work further. We're doing this because the change is upon us, and we know it's coming. You only have to look outside to see it's happening on a daily basis. We'll talk more about that on our online conference coming up, and we'd invite you to come and join us. Okay, thank you for now. hopefully you'll come and join us this weekend for the 2-day free conference. And then if you haven't seen it by then, it won't hurt to become a subscriber.
It'll be all right.
It'll be okay. It's not going to cost you too much. And what you'll manage to do is directly put money into us paying other people so we can actually talk to you. That's basically what we're doing now.
All right. So
Okay.
we'll see you all very soon.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you. No, we had some people here. That's good.